In this video, I just want to talk about how I got started with YouTube in the first place. Like, what was the tipping point for me to just step out of my comfort zone? There was just a lot of things happening in life and a lot of mindset shifts that were happening. I just want to talk about it in this video because in one of my previous videos, a lot of you had commented that you'd love for me to talk more about getting out of my comfort zone and all that stuff. So that's what this video is going to be. Basically, for me, pandemic, that was my tipping point, I want to say, because that's the first time in my life that I really felt I had no control. Obviously, no one has control over those kinds of things, right? But in my life, I felt helpless. I felt like I had no backup plan. And I'm sure that's like what happened to a lot of other people too. Previous to that, I had already been doing a lot of reading, like something I hadn't done in the first half of my life because I didn't like reading the stories that they made us read in school, the books that they assigned to us. I didn't like all of that. That's a whole other issue for another video. But you later in life, once you're out of a school system, you have a little more choice of what you'd want to do. But because of my experience in the school system, I hated reading because I didn't know there were books out there that I could like because I was just assigned all these books I didn't like. And I was like, if this is what reading is, why do I have to do it anyway? So somewhere in my 20s and 30s, I started reading more and a whole world opened up to me. And I ended up reading a lot of like self-improvement books. And they just kind of changed my mindset over time in ways that I had never thought of before. Anyway, during pandemic, my husband got furloughed for a bit. I had to work from home and I needed to get on like the assistance, like the unemployment, all of that. It's like so long ago, I don't remember, but like I needed to apply for unemployment, all of that stuff. And it was obviously a very scary and hard time. Immediately, I was like, what can I do so that if this ever happens again, I am better prepared? Definitely like built up that emergency fund. Secondly, started looking into assets. I was like, I have nothing to show. I was already like 36, 37. I had like nothing to show really at that point. And I had made a lot of money already, like, doing the traditional route, me and my hubby, like we've already made a lot of money. But to get caught off guard like that, and just especially because we were living paycheck to paycheck, even with making like over 6 figures, like that really opened my eyes to how much I didn't know about how money works and what I should have been doing up until that point to be in a better position that even if something like that happened, I would still be okay. So there was just a lot of like inner work that I did to be more open to the lessons around me, to seek the resources that would help me to be better prepared in the future. So I at the time I got into real estate. I started investing in like different stocks and things like that. So I did all that so that I could be in a much better place. And I paid off, during the pandemic, I paid off 6 figures in credit card debt. And it was the first time in my life that I really then felt in control of like, nobody knows the future, of course, but I felt like I was in a better place. Like I didn't feel like I was so dependent on a job. Like we had a backup plan, like, hey, if you don't get to go back to your job or I don't get to go back to my job, I've got other things that I can do now. And somewhere in there, I decided that I wanted to just share my journey on YouTube because why not? Several people in my life had told me that I should start a channel because I'm interesting. I have a lot of different things that I'm into. When I learn something, I go deep and then I tell people all around me about it. It's up to them what they want to do with that. I'm just info dumping. I eventually learned that's the autism and the ADHD, but aside from that, it's just that's how I live my life. And even with what happened in pandemic, where I initially felt so helpless, to be able to like a year later say that I paid off my debt, to even then also declutter my house so much to the point we were like, actually, we don't need this house. Like this is actually too big. Maybe we should get into real estate and start that journey. To be able to just transform my life in like a year, to me, that's pretty cool because that just proved to me that it was never too late to just do a 180 or just take a turn and do something different. And to be at such a low point just 12 months prior and then being able to say a year later, like, well, you know what, that sucked, but a year later we were able to pay off all of our debt. We're selling our house and then we're gonna take the profits and go and start a new journey. Like, what? And during that time, I was watching a lot of videos too about like basically changing your life in 6 to 12 months. Learning a new skill, just going all in and learning a new skill and then being able to do whatever with it. And I've seen it so many times in my life prior, especially like when I was in photography. I got interested in photography when I first got married. Like almost 20 years ago, I got married and I had a honeymoon road trip thing, and we bought a camera and I fell in love with it. I never went to school for that, but within 6 months, I was decent with the camera because I hyper focused on it and I learned everything I could, and I became like a photo geek. I geeked out about photography. So then I started a business. That was my first business venture. I guess it's like, I can't even count the years now. I'm gonna say it was like 8 years ago that I ended up closing it, but I had a whole business. I had a whole photography business for a decade, almost a decade. And I remember being able to go from $1,500 a wedding to like up to $5,000 a wedding because I took some courses from some mentors and it fast tracked my learning. So within a few months, like, of starting my business, I was able to go from here to here, and I had no formal training or anything, but I learned from people who were already doing the thing that I wanted to do. And that was a major unlock for me too. That was the first time I ever did that. However, I was not good at money yet. I wasn't good at money yet. This was before the pandemic, so I'm going out of order, but that's the first taste I got of like not having to work a 9 to 5. But then somewhere after that, when my kids were born, I wanted to spend more time with them. I was like, maybe I should go back to a 9 to 5 because it's safe, it's predictable, and then I can have a little more time with the kiddos. But I worked it out that I was able to work at the place where my kiddos were going to school. It was a Montessori school. That's a whole thing. So I still figured out ways to kind of shape my life in a way that worked for me and my family. But yeah, it's like all these little things were happening along the way to kind of lead me to this point now that I'm at, where I've been able to do the YouTube for the full time. But I can't say that it was necessarily just that one thing that happened in the pandemic. I want to say that I've been getting ready for this through trial and error, through so many failures throughout the years that finally unlocked all the different pieces of knowledge that I needed so that this time when I got money, I didn't lose it all. I knew what to do with it. I knew how to be better with it. And that piece is because of like finding minimalism, frugal living for a bit, like budgeting, personal finance, all of that. Just having all of those pieces come and fit together within the last 5 years. So I'm gonna say that for a lot of people, something really major has to push them out of their comfort zone. If it's not painful enough, like if being in the comfort zone, being in your dead-end job or being in the same place you were 5 years ago, if it's not painful enough for you to want to do something different, then you're just gonna keep doing it. I almost feel like that's most people. So the question is, like, you kind of really have to envision your life like 5 years from now. I did an exercise that I saw on Dan Koh's YouTube videos, and it was called the anti-vision.
But the best way to do that is by also creating an anti-vision, having a negative thing.
So it's kind of like, like usually you envision what you want 5 years from now, but maybe you could do the opposite and envision what you don't want. And that has helped me a lot because I thought about, well, what do I not want to be the case in 5 years? For me, in 5 years, I don't want to be like 30 pounds overweight and unhealthy and have no time for my family and feel like I didn't accomplish all the things that I knew I had the potential to do. That's my anti-vision. I didn't want to be in boatloads of debt. I didn't want to be living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't want to have to worry about money. Yeah, because there's this whole like noble thing about, oh, you shouldn't be so obsessed with money. Like, especially if you're like somewhat religious or whatever, sometimes it's like, oh, you shouldn't be so money hungry. You shouldn't care so much about that. You just be happy with what you have. Yes, okay, I get that. But I don't care so much about the money, but I appreciate the freedom, the flexibility that having money offers you. The thing is, do you know how to leverage your hours so that you're not putting in more hours to get more money? Like you have to kind of figure out ways to make money that are like high leverage. So instead of me sitting at an hourly job for $20 to $25 an hour for 8 hours a day and only making a max of $200 a day, can I make a video one time, it goes out into the YouTube verse, continues to get views and continues to get commission for me or continues to get clients for me that I can coach to help them with YouTube. Like, there's other ways to spend your time. That's one video takes 1 hour for me at this point. And then because now I make enough money, I can hire out the parts that I don't want to do, whether that's the thumbnails or the editing or whatever. Like I can hire those things out, but it still comes back to me like 5-10-fold because that video is doing work for me when I'm already done. That was a major unlock for me, thinking about that, because I don't know, one of my mentors told me, like, you know, how much is your hour worth, like an hour of your day? How much do you value yourself at? And a lot of us, you know, we have an hourly wage, right? And that's how we calculate it. Even when we buy things, we're like, oh, well, if I just work an extra few hours, then I can afford that, you know, like I can afford that nice thing, right? But I don't do that kind of math anymore because it's like wild to say it out loud, but I value my hours now at like $1,000 an hour. And it seems ridiculous, but if I can make a video in an hour and then that video can make me thousands of dollars, like that's better than me saying, oh, that's better than me using that hour to scroll Instagram, you know, get lost in the social media vortex, even go grocery shopping all the time when like people think I'm trying to be bougie. No. It's just really, I don't have the mental capacity for that anyway. And I get overwhelmed in the grocery store, and I never knew why until recently because of autism. But aside from that, I can pay a few extra dollars, I don't know, $20 extra to have groceries delivered to my house so that I could stay here and film a video. You know, it's kind of like I got to that point, and it didn't happen overnight, guys. Like it didn't happen overnight. For a while, I was like, okay, well, maybe my time is worth. It just got kind of wild because there was a point where I started doing the math, and between my job that I had before I quit, I was making like $25 an hour there, and then starting to make money with my videos. I'm like, technically, the amount of work I put into this video, you know, when I was editing and everything, I was still doing like $100 an hour I was still making $100 an hour through YouTube versus 25 at my job. So that's already where I was like, I need to do more of this, right? Then the more I started doing the YouTube and finding other skills I was good at, I was starting to get to like 250 an hour and then 500. And now technically, depending on what high leverage task I decide to do, which right now is filming a video, the video that's worth way more than me going to get groceries. I'd rather spend the free hours I do have spending time with my family. Like that's priceless. That's not even comparable to having to do like those other kinds of things. And it's a hard concept to grasp. And this is the first time I'm talking about it out loud. And it's just what has happened over time. And that's like how most like, you know, like wealthy people think, like what's the best use of their time. If there's like a admin task that they had been doing that they don't want to do anymore, it's better for them to outsource that so they have more time for their creative stuff. I'm losing the light here. But that's been a huge unlock, is just outsourcing stuff, you know, paying someone else to do the stuff that doesn't make you the money. And like I keep saying, it's taken me a bit to get here. I didn't used to have this kind of thinking. I will tell you one book though that really helped me, and I've read it probably 3 times at this moment. Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. The first time I read it, it seemed impossible. But it's basically about, I don't even remember the characters, but there's like one example in the book is Thomas Edison. And you know, he was doing the things, right? He's on the verge of like making his empire or whatever, like doing all his invention stuff. There's a guy, I think his last name is Barnes. He knew he wanted to work with Edison, but he didn't know how it was going to happen, but he believed in it. He basically was like, I'm gonna manifest this. He had like no money, no skills yet, but he was so determined that he found a way to go to where Edison was located in New Jersey at the time and offer his services, even just like as the lowest of the low in his company. But he got in, you know, Edison saw something in him and was like, you're scruffy, sure, you can have a job here. And he started at the bottom, but over time, he was able to find opportunities to prove himself. And then he became Edison's right-hand man. I've seen this. I've experienced this a few times in my life, especially more of late. And you just gotta get in the right rooms. Even if you just start at the bottom of the bottom, like you have to believe that you have something valuable to offer. And I think like a lot of people, they don't see that, or they don't think that in time they could prove themselves. They could find an opportunity to prove themselves. Half the battle is just believing within yourself that you can learn, you can do something uncomfortable, you can step out of your comfort zone and try something new and be okay with not succeeding at first. That's the thing. I failed so many times. I failed so many times throughout my life, and I just kept getting back up. And I saw that in my dad. My dad, man, oh, I miss him. But like I don't think he minds me telling the story. He not gonna mind because he not gonna mind because he not here. But like he filed bankruptcy twice throughout his life, and they were both during my lifetime. But he kept picking himself back up. He kept figuring out how to get more money. I don't know. He didn't know how to manage his money, but he figured out how to keep getting more money. And that was the biggest lesson I took from him, is that he just kept trying. And I was like, no matter what I do in life, I'm gonna just keep trying. I'm gonna just keep going. And I've seen it. Like, I have failed so many times, but they were like, as long as you get back up, those were just, that's just data. That's just data. And I think the thing that stops most people is they're just scared of failing. Like, you have to really ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? You go back to your 9 to 5? Or, you know what I mean? Like, what's the worst that could happen if you just try something different? Or what's the worst that can happen if you just take an hour a day to do something for yourself that's not dependent on anybody else? I just got to this point where I didn't like depending on an employer for a paycheck, especially when the pandemic happened and those paychecks they were pulled out from under us. Like that, I didn't want it anymore. I didn't want to depend on that. So that's what made I was so uncomfortable with that. That was so painful that I was like, there's gotta be something else I can do. I'm gonna just keep trying until I figure it out. And it took me a bit, but I figured it out. You just have to figure it out for yourself. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you that no matter how old you are, if you're willing to learn a new skill, then you can, because the internet is so big. Dude, I'm trying to finish this video. It's okay, you're gonna be okay. Just 2 more minutes. That's just what I want to tell you. Like, it's never too late to change directions. You can make all these excuses. You can say, oh, but I have a family, I have this and that. Okay, then do it on the side. Do it on the side, because that 30 minutes, that 1 hour a day, it will compound. It can compound. We have at least an hour a day. If we scroll on the YouTube, we scroll on the Instagram, you have an hour a day. The question is your current life painful enough? Like, is staying in the comfort zone painful enough that you realize it's not what you want 5 years down the road? You realize that you don't want to depend on someone else for your paycheck or to tell you when you need to come in for work, when you're allowed to go on vacation. You can just go on vacation like once or twice a year. Like, it depends. Are you okay with that for the rest of your life? Are you okay with not having even enough time to take care of your health because you're so busy working all the time to provide and everything? And then when you retire, the best years of your life are behind you already. You're too old to travel. You're too old to do those things. That's what you got to decide. And I think this video is over now because there's dogs. Hello. There's dogs. Hi, dogs. So that's where we're going to end. But hopefully this was helpful. Read Think and Grow Rich, and I'll talk to you in the next one.